Shit. Good enough. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we're going to talk about my Fiat 500. I originally had tinted the back dome on the hatch and the two small side windows. I wanted to tint the doors, but I didn't do that because at the time I didn't know how to shrink the tint to get it to not have wrinkles in the corner, as I ended up having on the dome, which is why I ended up not tinting the doors or putting the strip on the top, although I considered it. What I did end up going with was I tried for my first attempt, the Wal Mart brand Black Magic, 5% for the rear hatch and the two small windows. I did get dust specks all up in the tint. I did get bubbles. I did get the finger wrinkles in the corner, which is the reason I didn't do the windows, because they curve too. And well, that was not cool. I intended on using 35% on the doors, and I just saw the 5% on the back, which I did use. This I didn't use. Practically a brand new roll. Just after 4 years, it's been kind of beat up in the garage, being tossed around a lot. I don't know that I'll ever actually use this. Maybe I'll find an application for it, but nah. And I wanted to put the 20% for the sun visor, but again, I didn't use this one, so it's a brand new roll. Now, the only issue I've had with the Black Magic, other than the installation problems, is that after about 4 years, the tint has noticeably faded. It's kind of like a golden brown, like an amber color. So when you're in the car looking out, you see everything brownish. When you're looking at the car from the outside, you can't tell, unless of course you squat down and look clean through the car, or you're driving behind and you see through the back dome. And then of course, the back of the vehicle, it has this little visor across the back window, which shades the top of the tint. So when you're looking out the back window, you see that grayish blue color fade to the amber, making it even more obvious that the tint faded. So it was time to remove it. So I decided to go with O'Reilly's brand of, or what they had on the shelf. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, if it's Gila. It's a good product as far as I'm concerned. It claims to be professional quality. However, this one does have heat rejection where the other one does not. So I thought that was an interesting addition to have, you know. Didn't really notice too much of a problem with the other tint. The Black Magic did reduce the temperature inside the car, mostly because it was darker, but you know, it's not blocking out infrared where apparently this one can. Now this is the 2.5%. I decided to do this one on the rear hatch, the two small windows in the back, and the sun visor. Ended up going through a couple of boxes of this because I kept screwing up as I practiced the methods of shrinking the tint. I decided to go with this tint initially, 5% for the doors, and this one says it's 2-layered construction dyed plus ceramic. And well, I was under the impression that ceramic was supposed to be a good brand, a good product to use in your brands, whatever you choose. And it blocks 55% of heat, so that was pretty cool. But I ended up screwing up this box. Now, O'Reilly's only had one of these on the shelf and no more in the back. So I also picked up the other 5% that they had, which only blocks 50% of heat rejection, but it's 2-layered dyed construction with metal. Not entirely sure what the real difference is, other than after I started installing this one and totally screwed up by cutting the tint too small, when I pulled this one out and compared the two tints to verify that they were exactly the same in visual appearance, this one turns out to be darker. To be honest, it's very similar to the 2.5. So literally the entire car looks like it's tinted 2.5 all the way around. But I also screwed that up and needed to buy more. Now, because O'Reilly's didn't have any more, since they only had one of each box at this percentage, because I didn't want to go lighter, I ended up going to Advanced Auto. And at Advanced Auto, I picked up the film adhesive remover, which, as you can see, I didn't use it, so I intend on returning this. I also picked up from Advanced Auto a spray bottle. Couldn't remember where my original spray bottle was, so I just bought another one. And picked up a set of 4 plastic pry bars. Only used this one because I wanted to use this flat tip here to pry the squeegee on the windows away so that I could tuck the tint in there better, and it worked great. So definitely recommend using one of those. But instead of using the window remover, I chose to use steam. So this is a laundry steamer. So if you have linens that are wrinkled, this is what you would use. Gives you a more consistent stream. I have other devices that I can use the same thing, only those pulse. It's totally bogus. I needed a solid stream. It does come with attachments, such as this one. It goes right on top, right? And you can use it to brush out hairs or whatever, I don't know, but don't use that when you're removing the tint on the vehicle. There's a nice little chamber in the front that you can pop off. What the heck? That you can pop off. It was under pressure, and it made me look like I just peed myself. Anyway, so yeah, pop off the top, put distilled water in there, preferably nothing with mineral water in it. It's a good thing it's water, because water evaporates and doesn't leave residue on all your stuff on the inside of the vehicle. I also used a standard razor blade box cutter with the stainless steel blades, which you have to go rotate them because they wear out pretty quickly cutting that stuff. Although that's just the tip, so it's like a waste of a blade. Still use it for other stuff. I used the standard rubber squeegee to apply the tint with. And I went and purchased a heat gun to assist me in shrinking the tint. Now, the heat gun and the steamer I purchased at Wal Mart. So let's see. The steamer I purchased for $26.97. Well, these are as of this video. The prices might have changed. I could have sworn I paid a little less. And for the steamer, I paid $49, which I could have sworn it was $38 when I purchased it. But here it says it's $49 as of this video, and that's the exact same one I purchased. Just be aware that it retains a little pressure, and if you pop the case off, it pees on you. What else did I do? What else? Oh, so when I just installed the sun visor, I used a tape measure to make sure that the line was the same distance from one side of the vehicle to the other, using the factory cut edge instead of cutting my own edge. Was that everything I used? Let's see, there's the steamer to take the old tint off. I used Goo Gone to remove the adhesive, and I didn't do a very good job because there's still some adhesive in the tint here and there. So that kind of sucks. I'm going to make sure next time I do it that I do a much better job of taking the adhesive off. I mean, this package, it comes with a little razor blade, and I didn't use a razor blade. So maybe that's why. I mean, the Goo Gone liquefied the adhesive, but not scraping it off could have been the reason that there's spots on there. So we got the steamer, we got the adhesive for the adhesive remover, we've got the box cutter to cut the tint, the squeegee to reapply the tint, tape measure to make sure that the tint is in the right alignment on the windshield, the heat gun to shrink the tint, which actually worked out really well. So let's go to see exactly what I did. So here's some fingers that I was talking about on the back dome. That's the reason why I didn't. Oh, and there's some fingers on the windshield and all the speckles. That's the reason I didn't do the doors, because of all the fingers. But yeah, crazy speckles. So clean the car real good. remove all the hardware in the way. Like, that's the rear camera I just took off. And here's the steamer in action. It works really good to remove the film. Most of the adhesive stays stuck to the film itself, and only a little bit stays on the glass. So like you can see the first initial part where I'm trying to pull the tint away, there's a little bit of adhesive there. And then along the defogger lines, you have the adhesive in the groove right along where the defogger line touches the glass. You can also see in this shot the fading that I was talking about, where the top portion is like that grayish blue color, and the rest of it's all golden, like a brownish amber. Safety first, make sure you turn off the steamer when you're done using it. And then of course there's the side windows. Now you can see here, looking into the vehicle, that the tint looks good. You can only tell that it's faded looking from the inside out, and all the adhesive on this particular window stayed on the tint. I didn't have to worry too much of the adhesive, the cleaning process here. However, on the opposing window, this one, a lot of the adhesive stayed attached to the window. And you can see from here the dot matrix on the film is the original tint color, and the rest of it's that brownish color. Now, I mentioned before that I had made some mistakes installing the tint, so I needed to replace it. Well, here's the video of me taking off the visor, because I also got speckles and dust inside the visor part, that I just figured, you know what, when I redo the doors, I'm going to redo the visor part also.
If you like what you're seeing so far, click that like button so others can find the video.
Now, according to the installation instructions that comes with the tint, it recommends to cut the tint into strips using a ruler, which I should have done when I cut the small space between the mirror and the window for the doors. But I don't want a bubble line that's going to span the width of the tint. I've seen that on vehicles and it looks terrible. So I'm going to be using shortly the heat gun method to shrink the tint. The only issue that I encountered here that was a little bit of a trick, but didn't turn out to be a problem in the long run, was the rear wiper blade getting in the way. Now, I've seen them in the training videos, they shrink the tint prior to doing the initial cut by holding it up and using a dry paper towel and all this mess, but I had already sprayed the whole window down and figured I'd just continue doing it wet, and it ended up working. Now, what I'm holding there is just a regular piece of cloth, like a white undershirt that's been turned into a rag, wrapped around the squeegee that I showed earlier, and using the handle side of the squeegee to press directly against the glass. It worked because without doing the rag, it would stick to the glass. Now, the tint itself, we're looking for wrinkles that form in each of the fingers as you're heating it up. You can see several of those fingers at the bottom are a little tricky to get rid of, but knowing that I'm going to be trimming off the excess, I was okay with leaving wrinkles right at the bottom there. Whereas the wrinkles you're looking for, each finger gets horizontal ripples between it, so it turns into like this squiggly finger instead of a straight ripple, and then you just press down and work the tint down, and just repeat the process across the whole thing. At this point, I'm ready to trim off the excess, removing the final wrinkles that I didn't get rid of. I'm going to within a fingernail's width of the dot matrix. At this point, I'm ready to use the soapy water, which is basically dish detergent, to prepare the window adhesive side to slide around the inner window. I don't think I did this fast enough, as there's still a couple of speckles, a lot less air bubbles, no fingers whatsoever on the install. Being this my second attempt, I'm pretty happy with the results. However, I am doing this in halfway in and out of the garage. You can see it's really windy outside. There's leaves blowing everywhere. And my neighbor's driveway is all dust. Literally, it's a dirt driveway, so that it makes it harder not to get speckles. It'd be better if I would have emptied the entire garage, closed the door, and then did the work with still air. So if you have a space that has an enclosed area around your car, you probably get the professional results with no speckles, no hair, maybe. I also opted to use a 2x2 ceiling panel LED light to light up the tint from the inside, as opposed to using a little protective tape that you can cut against. This made it super easy to see the dot matrix as I was tracing the outline of the tint. Now here's where I did my major rookie mistake. So trying to figure out the best way to cut the tint based on what I've seen in the videos, they take the razor blade and glide it along the top of the edge of the window, and I tried to do that to get the same perfectly lined up cut edge. The mistake I made was I didn't account for the fact that when I rolled the window down, I have to give myself much more tint at the bottom. So I just kept cutting the tint and cutting the tint. And every time I tried, either the tint would move in a way that would give me a deep cut in the tint, or the blade angle would be weird, or it would rip or wouldn't cut all the way. And I just kept recutting and cutting and cutting and screwing myself. And in the end, yeah, reality catches up with me. At this point, I've officially ruined the tint enough that it's unusable. So then, without having realized that I had ruined it, I decided I'm just going to cut along the edge of the glass directly to get the straightest edge, which did give me the edge I wanted. Unfortunately, I had already removed far too much, like 3 slices ago.
Don't forget to click the notification bell to be reminded when I post more videos like this one.
And realization sets in. So it's another day and bought more tint at Advanced Auto, and I'm attempting to put the windshield visor portion back on, but I get a little frustrated with the corner on the driver's side because I get wrinkles that I just feel like if I keep going, I'm going to crease the tint. So I end up stopping and going over to the driver's side door to do the tint there, make a mistake on the driver's side door, and then go back to the visor, finish it, and then do the passenger side. Now I decided to use some tape to indicate how big the gap underneath the window would be where it goes into the door frame to help me line it up again once I put it on the inside. That's what those 3 strips of tape are. Then I revisit that corner and manage to continue shrinking it just enough to get rid of the bigger of the fingers, and decided let me just try it on the inside and see if I can't press out the little wavy ripples that I'm concerned about, and it actually worked out really well. have this double-sided adhesive tape. I used this to replace the adhesive pad on the back of my mounting bracket for the dash cam. Keep the spare in the bag for power supply cables that hardwire directly into the fuse box.
If you haven't done so and would like to support my channel, click the subscribe button and meet me in the next video. So, the flaw is that right there. Now, I've resolved myself to choosing to ignore that because honestly, you don't really notice it from the outside thanks to the fact that the mirror is in the way. Let's see, the adhesive that was visible on the window is no longer visible, so that's good. I do feel like there's some bubbles right there that I need to try and get rid of. A little bit of speckling on the... Oh, so this is the corner that I was talking about, how I was concerned about wrinkles. So as the water evaporates, it's going to be more visible. I have a whole lot less speckles in the tint. There are still speckles in there. Oh man, there's a big crease right there. What the hell? That doesn't feel like a crease. Oh, it is a crease. Yeah, we got a big crease right here. So I still got some major rookie mistakes. Let's see, how's the edge of that one down there? I see a bubble on the bottom. Two of them actually. But it doesn't really look too bad. Now let's see. From my perspective, that light bleeding in the corner, as much as that's going to drive me nuts, I think I could deal with it for a while, a couple of years maybe, or not. Let's see, from my passenger's perspective, chilling in the car driving, passengers looking around, their head would be about here, maybe their eyes would be about there, looking around the vehicle. I don't know, I'd have to check the video to see. I do still see some smudging from the soap that I didn't fully wipe off. That's where taking a rag to the window should help eliminate. Oh no, wait, that's on the outside. That's on the outside, so I didn't wipe off all of the soap residue. I guess I could buff that out later. Besides, if it rains, that'll be gone. But this is the interior. It's not really sunny right now, but even though I got 2.5 in the middle of the day, so like you can see that's what it's like outside. It's not too bad, not too bright. Cloudy, overcast day. Inside of the vehicle, I got easy view all the way around. Now, granted, one thing about having tint like this at night, it's rather difficult to see outside the side windows. I do like the visor in the front. I don't see why it should be higher than that. If I'm not mistaken, this little arrow line right here means that everything below the arrow should not have tint. But if that's the case, then it wouldn't even go as low as the visor. Now granted, how I'm sitting, my perspective, my eyes are like this. Well, actually no, my eyes are right here. So it goes about as low as the vehicle's visor. But I feel like that's good. I don't need to see the sky as much as the road. I only need to see the cars driving around in front of me. And so far, I haven't received any issues with the police. Granted, I am expecting one day to get pulled over for the side windows. But yeah, that's the mistake I was talking about earlier. So, aside from a couple of speckles
few hairs and a crease or two. I'm really happy with how it turned out, as I don't have anything that from a glance is highly obvious and noticeable, aside from, say, this little bit of bird shit on the back window here. But other than that, I'm really happy with how it turns out. Next time should be a lot better. I've been Sawyer Ecom, and I appreciate you for watching.